The whole point of the ER is to recognize emergencies and then doing something about them. So when you're getting a new patient and you're the ER nurse, your key role again is to help recognize emergencies and then be proactive, anticipating what the orders are going to be so that we can do something about the emergencies our patients are presenting with. So if your patient is hypoxic, what are we doing for that? If they're tachycardic, what are we going to do for that? The same for if they're bradycardic, if they're altered, if they're breathing slowly, what if it's an airway issue? What if it's a breathing issue, a circulation issue? What if your patient is febrile? So from the top, what if they're hypoxic? Simply, we're going to place him on oxygen and go up that route, right? We can start off with a nasal cannula. We can move on to a non-rebreather. We can move on to high-flow nasal cannula, to non-invasive ventilation, which includes CPAP or BiPAP, or even the providers may choose to intubate. If the patient is extremely hypoxic in the beginning, you know that typically in the ER, we're going to go straight to a non-rebreather so that we can deliver 100% FiO2 immediately. But you have to recognize that if your patient is hypoxic, we must do something about it. What if they're tachycardic? Well, we have to figure out what type of tachycardia, right? The providers are going to order an ECG. Is it atrial fibrillation with the rapid ventricular response? Is it sinus tachycardia because they're febrile? Is it SVT, supraventricular tachycardia? Why are they tachycardic? Because each of those different things is going to require different management as ordered by the providers. Now, what if they're bradycardic? Again, falls down to we're going to have to figure out why they're bradycardic, right? Is it a third degree heart block? Is it just sinus bradycardia? Is it a different type of heart block? What are the medications that you anticipate the providers to order? We know that there's a key medication the providers are going to order for symptomatic bradycardia. And if that doesn't work, then you know that we move on to different steps. Now, what if your patient is altered? You know that immediately we're going to get a point of care glucose. The providers are going to order an ECG, a bunch of labs, even a CT scan of their head to make sure there's nothing else going on. Now, what if your patient's breathing slowly? Is it an overdose of something? What are you going to do at that point? Are you going to help ventilate them? Are you going to provide oxygen? And now the ABCs, right? If it's an airway issue, what are we doing for that? If it's a breathing issue, what do we do for breathing issues? If it's a circulation issue, what do we do for circulation issues? And what if your patient is febrile? That's just another common thing you're going to do. What do we typically do in the ER when your patients are febrile? Again, the key thing as a new ER nurse that you must recognize is that when your patients come in, we're going to recognize the emergencies that are happening and then doing something about it. And crucially are going to be the ABCs: airway, breathing, circulation, and disability. If it's an airway issue, we're going to open the airway. If it's a breathing issue, we're going to support breathing. If it's a circulation issue, we're going to support circulation, and we're going to support and assess for things with disability and go down that pathway. So things that can cause airway issues. If someone's coming in for anaphylaxis and they're having angioedema, that's going to cause an airway issue, right? If the patient is choking, if they're having trauma to the neck or to the face or any airway trauma, if a patient has a burn and they have an inhalation injury, you know that all that swelling is going to occlude the airway. What if they have a neck mass, right? What if they're really altered and they're vomiting and they're an aspiration risk? That's going to lead to potential airway compromise. For breathing, right, we know things that can cause issues with breathing are going to be asthma, COPD exacerbations, severe pneumonia, pulmonary edema, a pneumothorax, just to name a few. So what do we do at that point? We provide oxygen and go down the different things that we do for breathing. For example, if it's chest trauma, you're thinking if it's pneumothorax, the providers may do needle decompression or even place a chest tube, right? For circulation, we're going to support circulation. What are the things that can cause circulation issues? Hemorrhage, arrhythmias, a STEMI, heart failure, and going down that list. Now, what do we do for each of those things? If the patient is hypotensive, we're thinking, okay, the providers may order IV fluids and keep going down that pathway. Now, for disability, we're going to be on the lookout for things like strokes, or they just not moving one side, right? We're looking out for things like seizures, for hypoglycemia. That's why when a patient comes in altered, we're going to take a point of care glucose. We're even keeping an eye on metabolic issues because metabolic issues often cause altered level of consciousness, things like drug overdose, hypoxia, and all the other things that can cause somebody to be altered, right? So the ABCs are going to be crucial for you in the ER because they're going to help us figure out in a systematic way what's going on with your patient, starting with the really deadly things. Because if it's an airway issue, if you have an airway issue, that's the most important thing that needs to be addressed, and then going down the ABCs. But I want to make sure that you understand that whatever you're finding out for your patient, you have to do something about it. The team will do something about it. If they're hypoxic, we need to do something about the hypoxia. If they're bradycardic, we need to do something about it. If they're breathing slowly, we have to do something about it, right? So the first thing, again, is your initial impression. Like we said in the ER, our role is to recognize emergencies and do something about them. So, how are we going to recognize emergencies? The first thing is doing the initial impression. Just by looking at your patient, just at a glance, you can tell how sick they are. Are they having increased work of breathing? Are they pale, diaphoretic? Do they look drowsy, confused? Does something just doesn't look right? That lets you know just by looking at your patient that they need to be prioritized because there may be a real emergency happening. And the next thing also, besides getting your patient, besides going down the ABCs, is getting your patient on the monitor, right? We have to get an SpO2. We have to get them on the monitor to get the SpO2, right? The same thing, we got to get them on the monitor to check for a blood pressure. The same thing for tachycardia, right? Besides getting them on the monitor, we also have to do an ECG, bradycardia to respiratory rate. That's why getting your patient on the monitor is extremely crucial. So as soon as they come in, you do your initial impression. You're like, okay, this patient looks really sick. You and the team with the providers, everyone's going down the ABCs, and then somebody else is getting the patient on the cardiac monitor to get a full set of vital signs. And we're doing all this together as a team. And then as things come up, as emergencies come up, we're doing something about them. And now, if you want to go further into everything, of course, we have everything in the book, and we go further in depth with the interventions, everything you should anticipate by the providers. But here are all the crucial things that you need to get started.